The sun hung low in the sky, casting an orange glow over Riverview, California, where the air was thick with the scent of freshly cut grass and blooming jasmine. My heart raced as I stood on the edge of the park, watching families picnic and children playing. Laughter echoed around me, but there was a bitter taste in my mouth, a reminder of the treachery that had invaded my life. I ran my fingers nervously through my dark hair, pulling it back into a tight bun. I had never intended for things to go this way, but they dragged me to this crossroads. I can do this, I whispered to myself, squeezing the strap of my purse tightly. I spotted him, everyone's golden boy Anthony Jacobs, sitting on a bench, his bright smile a stark contrast to the storm brewing within me. I approached with deliberate steps, trying to appear calm even as my heart thudded in my chest. Memories clawed at my mind like a feral animal. Isabella. He called, his voice smooth like honey, turning to face me, his blue eyes sparkling with that irritating charm. What a surprise to see you here. Yeah, well, the sunshine and fresh air, I replied with a forced grin, though my insides churned. Still trying to capitalize on that perfect life of yours? He laughed, genuine and carefree. You know me, always chasing the next big thing. He gestured to the people around us. Everyone here calls me a hero. I took a deep breath, the euphoric aroma of grilled burgers mixing with the oily fumes from nearby food trucks, but it only aggravated my nausea. I fought against the memories of what he had done to me, a betrayal that stung sharper each day. That's right, I said, my voice steadying. Hero, always the hero. His brow furrowed. What's that supposed to mean? Do you really not know? I took a step closer, feeling the weight of the moment crashing over me. Is it not enough to be the golden boy? You had to stab me in the back too? Stab you? He gasped, incredulous. Isabella, that was so long ago, I thought we were past that. The air around us thickened with tension, the laughter of children fading into a dull hum. We are not past that, Anthony, you ruined everything. It was a mistake, he stammered, fumbling over his words as if seeking the right ones but falling short. I could see it in his eyes, an attempt to maintain his innocence, to convince me it was all just poor timing. Yeah. A mistake that cost me my job, a mistake that turned my life into a joke. My voice grew louder, drawing curious glances from the families around us. I didn't care. Do you know what it feels like replacing a career you loved, fighting through doubt? His expression softened, but I saw the flicker of annoyance in his gaze. Isabella, I am sorry, I really am, I didn't mean for this to happen. Sorry doesn't fix broken trust, I shot back. You think an I'm sorry is enough after dragging my reputation through the mud while you stand there untouched? Judge me by my worst moments? It's easy to forget the people who got you here. He shifted uncomfortably on the bench, running a hand through his messy brown hair, his mouth twisting in an attempt to find words. A small group of kids playing tag nearby stumbled into my peripheral vision, their joy sharpening my own anguish. You've got a good setup now. You're successful. It is time to move on. Move on, I echoed incredulously. You think I can just flip a switch and that everything I built means nothing? There was a pause, a moment where he seemed to weigh his next words carefully. Look, I know it was wrong and I regret it, but we can build something again, rebuild our friendship. Friendship, I spat, anger coursing through my veins like fire. Do you even hear yourself? You think we can go back to being friends after everything? I can't even look at you without feeling sick. A silence settled between us, heavy like fog in the early morning. His smile had vanished, replaced by a mask of confusion and remorse. I took a step back, feeling the rage bubble up inside me. You have no idea what I have gone through. I understand it. No, you don't, I interrupted, feeling a surge of adrenaline. You got away with everything while I suffered. You may think your life is some perfect fantasy, but it is built on the ruins of mine. Your apologies mean nothing while I scrape the bottom trying to regain what you took from me. I glanced at the park, the laughter continuing around us like a mocking soundtrack to our confrontation. My anger felt like a lit fuse, burning shorter with each passing second. I was here not just for a confrontation, but for something deeper, something more satisfying than just words. Perhaps it is time for me to bring a little justice into this. Justice? What do you mean? He asked, sensing a shift in my tone. I took another deep breath, the scent of burnt popcorn tickling my nose, mixing with my determination. I could feel the adrenaline pulsing in my veins, begging for release. You will know soon, I said, my voice dropping to a low hum. I never expected to be that person, but you forced my hand, Anthony. Just wait until you see how far I am willing to go. With that, I turned and walked away, the sun casting long shadows as I left him the way he left me, shocked, confused, and utterly unprepared for what was to come. The laughter in the park faded behind me, replaced by more profound determination and the thrilling possibility of revenge. It was time to fight back, and I was ready. Ready to show him that there was more than one way to face betrayal. The sound of the bell above the door chimed softly as I stepped into the dimly lit cafe on Main Street. The smell of freshly brewed coffee and warm pastries enveloped me, a comforting contrast to the storm brewing inside my mind. I had not been able to shake the heavy feeling in my chest since that dreadful day at the office. The memory of Derek's smug face haunted me constantly. It had been 2 weeks since he fired me without a second thought, and every morning I woke up with one thought pulsating like a relentless drumbeat: revenge. I ordered a caramel macchiato and slid into a corner booth, far enough away from prying eyes but close enough to keep watch of the door. Overhead, the flickering fluorescent light buzzed, and the quiet hum of conversation mixed with the soothing music playing softly in the background. My pulse quickened as I took in the familiar surroundings of Riverview, the town I thought I knew so well. It felt different now, tainted by my anger and bitterness. I could see couples laughing in the corners, friends sharing secrets, while I sat like a storm cloud gathering dark energy waiting for the perfect strike. Isabella, the soft voice pulled me from my thoughts. I looked up to see Sarah, my former colleague and the only one who seemed to care about my abrupt departure. Her curly brown hair bounced as she approached me, a frown resting on her perfectly painted red lips. "Hey, I've been meaning to check in on you." "Hi, Sarah," I replied, forcing a smile that felt like it was weighing my cheeks down. "I appreciate you coming over. Of course you look, well, not great." She tugged at the edge of her sweater, her concern evident. Are you okay?" "Just peachy," I replied with a hint of sarcasm that danced on my tongue. Just got fired for something I didn't do." Her brow furrowed. "I know, Derek is a complete jerk. I can't believe he fired you over that small mistake." "It wasn't your fault the server was down." I glanced down at my steaming cup, focusing on the swirls of caramel. "It feels personal, I looked back up, searching for the right words. "He was just waiting for an excuse. It's not just about the job, Sarah. I had trusted him. We were friends and then bam, I'm out on my ear." "I am so sorry. I won't pretend to know what it's like, but I can help you," she offered, her hopeful eyes shining like the sun breaking through clouds. "What can we do?" "I need to gather evidence against him," I said quietly, my voice stronger than I felt. "I want him to pay for what he did, Sarah. I want to expose him." Her eyes widened, the gravity of my words settling in the air between us. "Isabella, that sounds dangerous. Are you sure about this? I mean, revenge isn't always the answer." My heart raced, fueled by a mixture of anger and determination. "It's the only answer I have left. If I can show everyone how manipulative he is, maybe they will see him for what he really is. He plays nice, but behind that smile is a monster." Her fingers nervously tapped the table. Okay, but how?" "Working on it," I said, an idea forming like a jigsaw puzzle coming together in my mind. "I just need access to his emails and documents. I need proof that he knew about the issues and chose to ignore them. He kept everything on his computer, right?" "Sure, but how do you plan to get that?" Her voice was gentle but cautionary, as if she were trying to lead me down a safer path. I leaned in closer, lowering my voice. "I've been thinking about that. I could sneak in after hours, maybe use a flash drive to copy everything I need. I mean, he left his office unlocked a couple of times when I was still there." Sarah's eyes widened, panic flickering across her face. "Are you serious? Breaking and entering is a whole other level, Isabella. What if you get caught? Then I will deal with it. But there has to be a line, Sarah. He can't win this, not like this." My heart pounded in rhythm with my anger. "Look, I know it sounds extreme, but I need to do this. I need you to understand." Okay, she said, still hesitant but softening. "If you think this is the right way, I can help, but I need to be clear. I don't want to get in trouble or lose my job or make things worse for you. Trust me, I will be careful." I tried to sound reassuring, though the tremor in my voice told a different story. "I won't let anything happen to you." She sighed, her mouth forming a small O as she mulled it over. "All right, I'll help, but we need a plan. When do you want to do this?" I bit my lip, my mind racing with possibilities. "Tonight. I know he has a meeting until late, so there shouldn't be anybody there." Sarah nodded, apprehensive but on board. "Okay, I can help, but we need to be in and out quickly." As we hashed out the details, excitement tinged with fear coursed through my veins. We set a time, each beat of my heart drumming louder with thoughts of what I was about to do. This wasn't just about me getting back what I lost, it was about teaching Derek a lesson. It was about taking control of my narrative after feeling so powerless. Sarah checked her watch, her face scrunching in concern. "I really should get back to work. Let's meet here again at 7. I'll get my laptop and a few of my notes." "Perfect," I replied, feeling a surge of adrenaline. "I'll be here." The moment she left, a sense of calm washed over me, pushing aside the swirling tempest of anxiety. I took a sip of my coffee, feeling the warmth slide down my throat. The cafe felt alive around me and I absorbed the energy. People chatted, laughter rang out, and outside the sun hung low, casting a golden hue over the street. I stared into my cup, the steam swirling as I imagined my plan unfolding perfectly, like the climax of a well-crafted story. Derek would crumble under the weight of evidence. People would see him for the manipulative, self-serving person he really was. But then a flicker of doubt poked at the edges of my thoughts. What if I was wrong? What if this didn't go as planned? Would I be risking more than I could afford to lose? As these ideas wrestled for dominance in my mind, I shook my head, willing the doubts to dissipate like fog in warming sunlight. I couldn't back down now. I had come too far and I needed to make this right. This was about reclaiming my life, proving to Derek that I would not be the victim of his cruelty. I would show him that revenge could taste as sweet as caramel. The cafe began to empty out as the evening deepened, and soon enough I found myself sitting alone in the booth, my thoughts racing toward a destination that felt both thrilling and terrifying. Tomorrow would be the first day of a new chapter, and I intended to write it my way. I sat on the edge of my bed, the afternoon sunlight streaming through my half-drawn curtains, casting stripes of warmth across the room. The walls were a pale blue, a color I once loved, but now it felt like a cage. I could hear the cars whizzing by outside, the faint hum of life continuing without me. My phone buzzed again, a text from my sister, Lily. "How are you holding up? Want to talk?" My heart squeezed at the thought of her concern. She had always been the one who understood my silence. I hesitated, then pushed my phone away. I wasn't ready to share this dark chapter of my life with anyone yet, not even with her. I pulled on a pair of old sweatpants and a faded t-shirt, familiar comforts that did little to ease the storm brewing inside me. I had been drifting through life ever since the day Jordan betrayed me, but today felt different. Today I was a step closer to unraveling the truth, to striking back at the man who had shattered everything I held dear. I had plans. "Isabella, are you ready yet?" My roommate Vicky called from the living room, her voice a little too bright, as if she could sense my turmoil but was trying to shake it off. "Give me a second," I shouted back, taking a deep breath. Vicky had no idea what was brewing in my mind, but she had a knack for pulling me out of my head and into the world. "We're just going to a coffee shop, right? But don't think I'll let you mope around. You need some caffeine and sunlight." She laughed, and I could almost picture her bouncing in place, eager to show me that life still existed outside the walls I had built. With one last deep breath, I made my way to the living room. There Vicky stood, her brown hair in a messy bun, dressed in her usual let's go do something outfit of jeans and a graphic t-shirt. "Finally, I thought you were going to turn into a statue," she exclaimed, her eyes sparkling with excitement. "Statue? Nah, more like a ghost," I replied, trying to muster a smile. The truth was I felt like I had been haunting my own life for weeks, appearing yet not truly present. Vicky slung an arm around my shoulders. "Well, let's shake off those ghostly vibes. I heard the new cafe on Maple Street is amazing. We deserve some treats. Plus, I need to tell you about the guy I've been seeing." As we walked to the cafe, the sweet scent of blooming magnolias filled the air. It was spring in Riverview, and the world was alive with colors. But all I could think about was how to execute my plan to expose Jordan for who he really was. I could still feel the anger bubbling beneath the surface, a tide that wanted to crash. I needed a release, a way to channel my pain. In the cafe, the industrial decor mixed with the aromatic smell of freshly ground coffee. We ordered our drinks. I chose a caramel macchiato, while Vicky opted for a matcha latte, and we took a seat near the window. The warmth of the sun on my skin was comforting, but my mind was racing with thoughts of how to confront my past. "So tell me about this guy," I prompted, stirring my drink while Vicky animatedly began to describe her date. "His name is Leo, and oh my gosh, Isabella, he is amazing," she gushed as I forced a smile, absorbing her happiness. "What's he like?" I asked, trying hard to be interested, but my mind kept drifting back to my ex, to the betrayal. "He's funny, super smart, and really sweet. We went hiking last weekend and he made the best sandwich." She laughed, and that spark in her eyes reminded me of how life used to feel before everything went wrong. "That sounds great, Vicky. I'm really happy for you," I said, my voice softer than I intended. Her laughter filled the space between us, but I felt like I was on a different side of a glass wall, separated from the joy. "Are you sure you're okay?" "You seem a little off," she said, concern etching her features. The subtle shift in her tone made me uncomfortable. "You can tell me anything." I hesitated, my fingers tightening around my cup as I debated whether to share my plans. My pulse quickened as the weight of my vendetta crystallized in my mind. "I'm just thinking about some things that happened recently." "Still processing," I said. "Like?" Vicky asked, leaning forward, her eyes searching mine. A million thoughts swirled in my head. I wanted to tell her everything, how Jordan had destroyed my trust, how he had made me feel small, but the words felt heavy on my tongue. Instead, I took a breath and leaned back, choosing my words carefully. "Just work stuff, lots of changes happening," I offered, not wanting to drag her down with my darkness. "Okay," she said slowly, clearly not convinced but respecting my silence. "Just know that I'm here no matter what. You mean a lot to me, Isabella." Her words wrapped around me like a warm blanket, comforting yet a reminder of the isolation I felt inside. "Thanks, Vicky, that means a lot," I replied, forcing a smile. "Now enough about me, what about you? When are you going to let some sunlight in? You need to start dating," she teased, tapping the end of her finger against my arm. "Dating? Oh sure, because that's the answer to all my problems," I shot back with a laugh that lacked sincerity. But I could not help the thoughts that crossed my mind, the idea of making Jordan pay for tearing my life apart. "I mean, it could be, you never know, you might find someone fantastic," she encouraged, oblivious to the turmoil brewing within me. I took a deep sip of my drink, the sweet caramel and bold espresso filling my senses. Maybe when I'm less complicated. I just need to figure some things out first, I said, my voice trailing off. Vicky raised an eyebrow skeptically. Come on, what kind of things? I glanced out the window at the bustling street beyond, feeling the desperation to grab control of my life again. You know, life stuff, just the usual questioning where I'm headed, I said, hoping to change the subject before my emotions took over. Vicky looked momentarily satisfied but then shifted gears again. Well, we are all just figuring it out. Speaking of which, I picked out an outfit for you for the next party. Trust me, you will turn heads. I chuckled, grateful for the change of subject. As if I'd even go, I replied, but a part of me warmed at her enthusiasm. Isabella, listen, you need to stop hiding. You're beautiful and you have so much to offer. I refuse to let you disappear into this fog of sadness, she said firmly, her dark eyes locked onto mine. Her passion sparked something within me, a flicker of rebellion against my own timeline of despair. Okay, okay. I promise I will at least try, I relented, not wanting to hurt her feelings. We continued chatting and slowly my laughter returned. I didn't forget about the darkness hiding in the corners of my heart, but for a brief moment I felt lighter. Yet deep down, the driving force of revenge waited, simmering just beneath the surface, and I knew my time would come soon to act. As we made plans for the party, my mind wandered back into plotting, deeper and deeper into the web I intended to weave. I felt a thrill at the idea of what was coming, fueling my determination to make Jordan pay. Because this ghost was ready to rise and take back what was hers. The cool evening air wrapped around me like a shroud as I stood on my balcony, staring down at the streets below. Riverview had always seemed idyllic from a distance. The pastel-colored homes with neatly trimmed lawns, the families in matching t-shirts walking their dogs, the lilting laughter of children. But I knew better now. I felt like a specter above the town, my heart racing as I thought of the man who turned my life into this beautiful nightmare. I sensed my phone vibrate in my pocket, pulling me back from my thoughts. I fished it out and saw a message from Tanisha. Are you ready for tomorrow? Tomorrow. The day I had planned for weeks where everything would unfold. I took a deep breath, trying to settle the churning emotions inside me. Yes, just running through the details in my head, I typed back quickly. My fingers hesitated over the screen, then I added, I want this to be perfect. Tanisha replied immediately, her energy crackling through the screen as if she were right next to me. You've got this, Isabella, he won't even see it coming. I could almost hear her voice ringing in my ears, the confident lilt that had brought me comfort through darker days. If I were truly honest, Tanisha was the only thing stopping me from crumbling. With every word I typed, I could feel the weight of our shared secrets between us, the lies weaving into the fabric of friendship. I can't believe we're doing this, I finally typed, my heart racing again. It feels surreal. It's just business, girl, justice to be exact, she replied, justice. A word so often used to glamorize revenge, but I did not feel that spirit of righteousness. I felt a darker, more primal drive inside me. It was strange how quickly the thrill of what was to come chased away my trepidation. I turned my gaze back to the street below, watching the dim streetlights flicker on as dusk deepened into night. In the distance, I spotted those familiar shadowy shapes making their way towards the coffee shop. A group of my old friends, friends of Jason's. I almost laughed, thinking how disgustingly comfortable they all looked. They had no idea what was about to happen. I leaned against the balcony railing, letting the cool metal ground me. I saw Jason in the center of the pack, swaggering with that same cocky grin he wore when he thought he was untouchable. Irritating. It ignited that fire inside me again. The bastard. The memories flooded back, how he had belittled me in front of our friends, how he treated me like a pawn in his game. He has no idea how much I loathe him, I muttered to myself, almost surprised by the intensity of those words. I imagined him sinking deeper into oblivion as he reveled in his twisted life, something I had once believed to be ours. How naive I used to be. The past danced around in my mind like a sharp blade, reminding me that we were not different. He thrived on the misfortunes of others, and tomorrow I would make him feel that pain. It is only fair, I whispered under my breath, gripping the railing tighter until I could feel the metal biting into my palms. The thought gave me a perverse sense of comfort. You deserve this. Then my phone buzzed again and Tanisha's voice came through the screen. I'll be at your place early, don't forget to breathe, okay? Her steadfast support gave me strength. I won't, I promised, even though she couldn't see me. I flipped my phone over, wanting to avoid any more distractions. I needed to prepare myself to steady my resolve. With a deep, determined breath, I took one last look down at the street at Jason. Tomorrow would unravel the tapestry of lies we had woven, and I would get my chance to expose the truth. My mind raced with scenarios as I retreated from the balcony, each thought swirling like a tempest in my heart. I walked towards the mirror in my living room, taking the time to study my reflection. Was I still the same woman who had lain awake many nights replaying every betrayal? I touched my hair, brushing it back and trying to see a semblance of calm beneath the anxiety. My brown eyes seemed to burn with purpose, a stark contrast to my pale complexion. In that moment, I knew I was ready. The thrill of tomorrow's possibilities sent lightning through my veins. I made my way to the kitchen, the soft glow from the under-cabinet lights illuminating the countertop where I had set out my essentials for the next day. A sharp knife, a hidden camera, tools of revenge. My heart pounded at the sheer reality of it all, and as I picked up the knife, I felt the weight of it, the cold steel, a reminder that I was serious about this. I closed my eyes for a moment, picturing Jason's face as the truth came tumbling down like a house of cards. Tonight I will sleep like a baby, I whispered to myself, imagining the weight lifting off my shoulders. Just then my phone rang loudly, jolting me from my thoughts again. It was Tanisha. I quickly picked up. "Hey," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. "Are you ready for tomorrow?" she asked, her tone bright and reassuring. "I think so," I replied, doubt creeping back in as I stumbled over my words. "I know these feelings, the need to hesitate, but remember why we are doing this." I inhaled deeply, feeling my nerves start to settle. "You're right, it's time to take a stand." I felt her smile through the phone. "Good, just remember that this is about reclaiming your power." Her words resonated, fueling my determination. Yes, reclaiming my power. We spoke a little longer, sharing worries and excitement before saying our goodbyes. The weight in my chest felt lighter as I hung up, a sharp contrast to the tension gripping me only moments before. The reflection in the mirror stared back at me, and for the first time I truly felt like I was becoming someone else, someone empowered. I could hear the distant sound of laughter and chatter from the streets below, a haunting reminder of everything I had lost. Tomorrow they would not be laughing, and neither would Jason. As I prepared for bed that night, thoughts of what lay ahead formed a chaotic symphony in my mind. My breath caught in my throat when I looked at the knife one last time, the cold steel gleaming under the light like a predator ready to pounce. Tomorrow I would finally step out of the shadows and bring forth the reckoning I had long desired. Justice would be served, and for all the pain I endured, I would make sure each moment would linger like a bitter aftertaste for Jason. The sun dipped low in the sky, casting an orange hue across the Riverview horizon as I stood outside Henry's favorite bar, the Rusty Anchor. A low hum of music floated through the air, mingled with laughter and clinking glasses. This was the place where Henry felt most alive, surrounded by his friends, unaware that tonight I was the storm brewing just outside. I could feel the anticipation knotting in my stomach like a tightly coiled spring. The weight of everything I had planned pressed down on me, yet exhilaration coursed through my veins. Today was the day I would finally confront him. As I took a deep breath, the cool evening air filled my lungs, grounding me. I remembered the betrayal that had twisted my heart for the last few months. Henry, with his charming smile and sweet words, had shattered my trust when he had stolen the promotion I had been working toward for years. He had manipulated the situation, played both sides, and now, as I watched the bar door swing open and close like a heartbeat, I felt a mix of rage and sadness swirling inside me. My heart raced as I pushed the door open and stepped inside. The familiar scent of beer and fried food wrapped around me, an aroma that normally soothed me, but tonight it felt more like a shroud. As I scanned the dimly lit room, my eyes landed on him, Henry, leaning back against the bar, surrounded by his friends, an air of confidence about him that made my blood boil. He looked so carefree, laughter spilling from his lips as he held a pint glass. How could he just move on? I took a moment to gather my thoughts, gripping the edge of the bar counter until my knuckles turned white. My plan had been meticulous, every detail thought out, every possible reaction anticipated, but nothing could truly prepare me for the heat of the moment. I shook my head, pushing those doubts aside. I was not the same Isabella who let his betrayal wash over her like a gentle wave. No, I was a tempest now, a force unwilling to be ignored. Isabella. One of his friends called out, his voice rising above the crowd. "Come join us, we miss you." They all turned to look at me and my eyes locked with Henry's. For a split second, surprise flickered across his face and then a fleeting moment of concern. It was as if he realized that I was not here to reminisce about the good old times. I moved toward them, each step deliberate, my heart thundering in my chest. "Hey guys," I said, forcing a casual tone despite the storm of emotions within me. "Mind if I join?" "Of course not, the more the merrier," one of them replied, oblivious to the tension crackling in the air. I slid onto a bar stool, my gaze firmly locked on Henry. "We need to talk," I said, my voice steady and unyielding. Henry raised an eyebrow, feigning innocence. "Really? About what?" He leaned back, a smirk dancing on his lips, the same smirk that used to make my heart flutter before it had turned bitter. I leaned closer, lowering my voice just enough for him to hear. "You know what this is about, don't play games with me." His facade wavered for just a moment, a flicker of discomfort crossing his features. "Isabella, can't we talk this out privately?" "Talk? You mean manipulate the situation further?" I shot back, regretting the sharpness of my tone as soon as I saw his eyes darken. "No, not this time. You brought this on yourself, and now it is time you face the consequences." Recognizing the growing tension around us, his friends began to glance between us, sensing the shift in the atmosphere. What's going on? One of them asked, curiosity colored with concern. Nothing, Henry replied too quickly, raising his hand dismissively. Isabella is just a little upset, no big deal. His words dripped with condescension, and I could feel my anger sparking like a flame. It is a big deal, I insisted, rising slightly from my seat. You took something that was never yours, and I let you brush it off like it was nothing. But now I see you clearly, and I will not be silent. The air crackled with tension as my voice rose above the ambient noise, drawing more attention from the patrons around us. I could feel the weight of their stares pressing down on me, but I didn't care. I had waited too long to confront him, and I had to feel empowered, even if every eye in the room was fixed on us. Isabella, let's be reasonable, he pleaded, frustration lacing his voice. I just did what I thought was best for my career, you have to understand that. What's best for your career? I scoffed, crossing my arms. Or what's best for you, because I don't think you even considered how it would affect me. You just wanted to climb the corporate ladder and you didn't care whose hands you stepped on to get there. You used me, Henry, and that is unforgivable. The room fell silent, the bustling noise of the bar fading into the background. I could feel the weight of every gaze, every unspoken judgment hanging in the air. My heart pounded in my chest, a mix of fear and exhilaration. I had finally laid it all out on the table, exposed the truth that had been gnawing at me, carving a hole into my heart. What do you want from me? Henry said, his voice a low growl, an edge of defensiveness surfacing as his mask slipped. I've apologized 1,000 times. No, I interrupted, shaking my head. You never apologized for what you did. You just offered empty words hoping I would forget. I want you to acknowledge your betrayal. It is not just a simple misunderstanding, it is a deep betrayal. I want you to feel it. You need to understand the pain you caused. His eyes widened in disbelief, and for a moment he looked vulnerable, uncharacteristically small beneath the weight of my words. You really believe that making me feel bad will somehow give you closure? He asked, incredulous. Not just feel bad, I stated, my voice steady now like a hammer ready to break the dam. I want you to see the mess you created and live with it. It's not about closure, it's about justice. His bravado began to falter and resentment crackled in the air. Justice? He spat, laughter bubbling up, harsh and hollow. You think you can just waltz back into my life and demand justice because you're hurt? Life does not work like that. For a brief moment I wavered, the doubt creeping back in, whispering that perhaps I was foolish for thinking I could make him feel anything at all. But deep down, that doubt fueled my fire, igniting my determination. Maybe it doesn't, I countered, leaning in closer, but it should. You're getting away with what you've done. This is about accountability, Henry. You are going to pay for your actions. I could see the internal struggle within him. He was no longer the confident man who strutted around like he owned the world. I had stripped away that veneer, revealing the truth that he was scared. He captured his own breath, caught off guard by the fierceness of my confrontation. What are you going to do? He asked, the bravado in his voice crumbling. Tonight, I will start by showing you how it feels to lose something precious. I said softly but firmly, the determination hardening in my chest. You will know the emptiness you thrust upon me. You will watch as everything you cherish ticks away. I took a step back, watching as realization dawned like a wave crashing against the cliffs. I have worked hard to build my career, to forge a path for myself, and you think you can just take it away without consequences? Henry's expression morphed into a blend of anger and desperation. You are making a mistake, Isabella, he warned, but it was laced with unease, something I had not expected to see in him. No, Henry, I replied, my voice cutting through the haze. You made a mistake when you decided my efforts were yours to claim. Turning on my heel, I strode away from him, each step heavy with resolve. I knew I had not yet won. This confrontation was merely the beginning of my journey through the rubble he had left behind. The sense of empowerment swelled within me as I moved toward the exit, leaving the storm behind. Tonight would echo long after I walked out of those doors, and I smiled at the thought, knowing things were finally starting to shift in my favor.